Hello, I'm Renee. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm homeschool mom of 3, and today I really hope that you find something helpful here. And if you do, go ahead and like and subscribe and hit those notification buttons so that you can see what is coming up next. So today I'm going to talk to you about our new homeschool schedule for the 2023-2024 school year, and I'm going to let you know something exciting. I have 3 kids, but this year I am homeschooling 4 kids. Yes, I'm going to be homeschooling someone else's child, our worship leader's son, and he's going into kindergarten this year. My son is going into 2nd grade, he's 7. My daughter is pre-K, she's 4.5, and my other daughter is 2. So we'll have from 2 to 7, and it's going to be really exciting. I think it's going to be great for my son to have a little buddy. So then I'm going to also show you how we made a visual schedule with watercolors. It's really pretty. Give you a glimpse into what our days may look like and some ideas I have to make our days run really smooth, even with all these ages and new things that are going to be happening. This is our visual schedule, and what we did is take 4 pieces of paper, folded them into even thirds, and then cut them. And so that gave me these 12 smaller pieces. Then we all took a sheet and started watercoloring, and by the end, each of my 3 children had completed 3 or 4 of these little sheets with watercolors. Then I let them dry and wrote out our schedule. Hole punched the sides with 2 punches on each side, and then threaded some beautiful yarn through it and hung it up. I also keep our schedule handy in a Word document format. I print it out and I keep it either on the fridge and or in my mom binder. Let's talk about what each of these components may look like. So when we wake up, the children will play while I make breakfast, and then we'll do Bible and breakfast, which includes Bible memory and a Bible story, just ongoing from our favorite Bible story book. And then we'll do morning responsibilities. So he'll go ahead and push in his chair, both of them really, and they will clear their plates and get dressed, then make their beds, and then they will feed the rabbits, or my daughter will do plants. Then we will move into morning recreation. By that point, our new homeschool buddy will be here, and my idea for morning recreation, and by the way, he's only going to be here 2 days a week, and my idea for that is that at least one morning a week, our morning recreation time will be like a runner's club where we run. Of how many miles we want to try to go by the end of the year, and then maybe celebrate with some pizza or ice cream. Another morning recreation day would be Thursday, which will be our science focus day, and that morning for morning recreation we would go on a nature walk and do some nature study type stuff, or just, free flow nature walk type of situation. Then we'll come back in and hydrate. If they need a snack, that's fine, and they can eat that while I do morning basket reads, which I'll do a video on what we do for morning basket at some point soon. And then to break it up, we'll get up and we will put on a song that we can just praise to, and or use our hymn notebook to sit and read the words from that and sing that together, or maybe I'll just pull it up and we can still stand if they need to get their wiggles out. Then we'll go ahead and transition to memory work, which is still kind of part of morning basket in my mind. Of this year, it's going to be some review and learning how to identify the 50 states on the map. At this point, we'll take out our folder for calendar. Both of the boys have their calendar skills already, so I'm not going to do a sit down and everybody look at my calendar. They're just simply going to check off that day's day. I might note anything special on my son's or his if there's a special event going on, to make it sort of like a journal. And then we'll do the yesterday, today, and tomorrow routine. And we may have a couple other routines like the 30 days past September poem, 30 no months days, and other questions. I might do some related things like asking him how many days until, or what is 1 week from now, things of that nature. And I have like a little guide for myself if I do want to use it this year. Then we would maybe take a break if needed. I differentiated the responsibility chart for our new friend to have breaks between each thing, which is pretty typical, and my son still needed breaks in kindergarten and a little bit in first. This year he may not need them as often, but we might go ahead and take more breaks to meet the needs of everybody and just see how that goes. Then we'll move into math. This year my son is finishing up the Good and the Beautiful Math 2, and since I purchased it, I'm going to go into Good and the Beautiful Math 3. We're still deciding which curriculum we're going to use for our kindergarten friend. I think the parents are looking into a recommendation I gave on time for learning. I think doing some computerized math would be a good fit for him. And then we may need a break. That could be going on the trampoline or playing for a few minutes or doing like a move into math type of song, but otherwise we will move into writing. For writing this year, my daughter and our friend will be doing more handwriting and copy work type situations as the year progresses, and my son will do a writing workshop approach with some dictation and copy work used as a support as needed. I may have him do things like read familiar fables and rewrite them in his own words or copy them. He could copy other beautiful things too, like from God's Word, but we mostly are going to do, or from Draw right now, we mostly are going to do just the actual writing workshop where he does opinion writing, informational writing, persuasive, a mix of things off of these writing menus that I showed off Teachers Pay Teachers in my video about language arts curriculum choices. If necessary, we'll take another quick break. And then we'll move into reading. This is a time where they will read to me and read independently, especially my son. He doesn't need so much guided reading at his level. And then we'll go ahead and move into an activity. So during morning basket time, we would have already covered the reading for science or history, depending on if it was a science or history day. And then if there was an activity that I had in the plans, I would go ahead and do that at this point, whether it was an experiment or some type of hands-on activity or video. And then it's time for lunch and free play. The only thing I didn't add was spelling on the schedule. My son will be the only one doing spelling, so that will kind of be tied in probably before or after writing. I also have an art folder mainly for directed drawings for my son. That's not necessarily scheduled. He enjoys doing those at his leisure. So each child has their folder so we can sort of do things together, but at the same time differentiated based on their needs. These are the activities and some of the books I plan to do with my youngest, my 2-year-old. I can cycle through these in a kind of Montessori style, take one off, do it, put it back, as I'm working with the other students, trying to review important skills like shapes, colors, numbers, and words. I like to put my brain on paper. I put what her daily routine is, which kind of just fits in with ours and has the basics of what a 2-year-old's day should look like, very basic, and then a checklist. The main strategies that I think are going to help make our days go smooth is building in the breaks and being flexible. My son, sometimes going into math was stressful for him, and he'd always say he's hungry. So for him, having a little cup of milk and a little snack at math was a strategy also, as well as the breaks in the younger years especially. And I mean, homeschooling, that's the beauty. We can be flexible. You know, I don't have to follow this perfectly, but I think it helps me to have a plan and to try to stick with it and then be flexible as life happens. And then I think having this morning recreation is a good strategy, especially with boys. Getting them to do something like they're having to work or to do something that involves running or jumping, you know, getting their energy out in the morning, I think is a great way to start. Of course, might not work for everybody. Some boys, transitioning back to school could be hard. So it really just depends on the kid, but it's one to try. I definitely see how as my son has gotten older, it's really just not a big deal anymore. You know, they still sometimes will give pushback. I don't know if that's just me, but for the most part, it just gets to be like, okay, this is what we do, and they hopefully enjoy it as much as possible. And then my strategy for having a 2-year-old is to just be flexible, let her be on my lap if she wants to be, Maybe she's on my hips sometimes, but that having something for her to do, to rotate these out. So sometimes she's passively doing it while I'm teaching, or sometimes if my son's in an independent moment, or our friend, if he's independent, and my daughter, then that will be my time to actually talk through these toys with her and use those opportunities to do colors and sorting and shapes and numbers and letters as the toy presents those opportunities. And of course, before nap and at bedtime, if I didn't already get to pulling her basket down and doing some of her key learning books, I would do those at that time. Otherwise, I just do fun, sweet stories at those times. And of course, making it fun is a really helpful strategy. Just trying to keep it engaging using music and hand motions. And it's not always going to be, a bed filled with roses, as if you're already a homeschool mom, but I think that it can be fun. And then there's some things it's like, okay, we just have to do this. Check back for a new day in the life coming up, hopefully sometime in August. If I can get to it, if not by September, to see how our days are looking with 4 kids. All right, that's what our year should look like. And I should correct myself from the beginning of the video. I said I had some ideas to make our days go really smooth, but let's be real here. There's gonna be plenty of moments where I have a 2-year-old climbing on me. There's gonna probably be plenty of moments where the kids might need to be redirected and aren't in the mood to do schoolwork and things of that nature, but hopefully we can make it awesome and help the love of learning come forth and continue to disciple these awesome kids.